Hello, this is Julie again. I'm just going to talk really briefly about the coming essay that a number of students have asked me a few questions. So I'm just going to go over a few points that I hope will be helpful for you as you prepare for this essay that is due on the 24th of April. And it's 1,000 words and it's worth 30% of this unit. I guess one of the key things that you want to be thinking about is the question for the essay. And the question, as a number of people have already highlighted, is quite tricky because it asks what is an ideal community and how do you define that? I just want to emphasize there's no right or wrong answer to this, and you can decide for yourself what type of group, place, people or community that you might talk about in this essay. And it is a subjective term, what is an ideal community, but it may be that you want to think about a community that you would want to work with, or certain issues or attributes you would like to see in a community that provide an opportunity for you to interact with and be part of a change process when you're looking at community work. I guess if you use a model in this answer which you're asked to do, you need to, rather than use up your words describing what the model is, you need to be connecting it to the actual example that you're talking about, and you'll probably find a specific community that you choose or attributes of a community that you choose to talk about is going to really help your discussion to be very focused, so that you're not just making very global and very general points. If you're choosing, looking at a multimodal approach, you really need to be very clear in your justification about how that would apply and how that would be useful to the work that you're proposing in an ideal community. So it's really about an opportunity for you to explore and talk about a particular approach of community work and what you're aiming to do and how are you actually going to go about doing that. So really focus on the assessment criteria when you're looking at this question. That's what I'll be using when I mark this assignment. So having a real clear definition of what is your ideal community and explain why you've chosen that. That's 30% of the mark. And then having a good understanding in your essay about the community work model that you're going to use. How is that going to apply in that community? What are you aiming to achieve? What are you going to be doing? Why is that model useful? How does it apply? Give examples, be specific. A good understanding doesn't just mean describing, it also means being prepared to critically analyse the community work model. So not just saying that it's good or that you like it, but also to be able to be aware of some of the tensions and the debates and the wider theoretical issues in contemporary society, and in community work as well. I hesitate to give any examples because I really want you to choose what area it is that you want to talk about. And as we've had discussion in the seminars, that the context for community work very much shapes the way that work is carried out, the different approaches that will be used and the different skills that are required of the workers. So the context is really important. When we get to talk about actually the writing, and that lets some people down in the learning activity. So please be aware that at this level of university, standard of good grammar is expected. proper punctuation, use of referencing, which I will come to again in a minute. If you don't actually understand a word, my advice is don't use it. And also to stick to having a short sentence that is clear and that is easy to read. I want to know really early on when I read your essay about the type of community you're describing, and then how are you actually going to go about talking about the type of community work you're proposing. I want to know that quite early on. You only have 1,000 words, so you need to be quite sharp and succinct in your discussion. With relation to referencing, in marking this essay, correct referencing, if you reference correctly, that means 10% of this mark you already have. If you have a great discussion and critically analyse different frameworks and relate them to your community, but you don't reference, you lose marks straight away. So my advice is, if you're not sure, go back and have a look on the discussion board at that APA short video that I posted there, and access the resources in the library, such as the liaison librarian. Get someone to check that your referencing is correct. It's so important to get it right at this stage of your study. I hope that's helpful. Bye.